Welcome to the Sharpe Way show, guys. Thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your evening. Yes, of course, I'm going to ask you what I always ask you to do. Please like, comment, and share. It does matter. Take a couple of seconds to do that right now. Like, comment, and or share. Let people know that we are doing this and that it matters. It is Monday, AMA, but there's something I want to bring up to start this off. And it's the idea that are we just going to, as a country, as a nation, or as a culture, fight over absolutely anything? And I mean turn everything into a left-right paradigm, pick a side, and yell at each other. I feel sometimes like that's all we're going to do, and like that's the victory. The victory is if I'm on the right, I get to own the libs. And if I'm on the left, I get to own the alt-righters or whatever is the bad name of the day for either side. Is libs still a thing? I don't know. Whatever it is. Whatever is the bad name for the other. That's what it's all about. Now, why do I bring this up? If you remember, I talked about this actually a while ago. I talked about this when it came to masks, right? Masks became all of a sudden a virtue signal of whether you like or don't like Donald Trump. Remember that? Well, now I want to bring up something that to me seems so trivial, to me seems so unimportant that I actually didn't even watch it. I didn't even care about it, like until people told me that I should. And I didn't realize why I should until people started telling me about why I should. And this is about Harry and Meghan. And I'm going to give you a clip from the show Smirconish. So Smirconish did a little segment on this, and I want to bring it up. It's a good segment about it, and I want you to watch it if you don't mind for a couple of seconds, just so you'll see what I'm talking about here. Watch this.
We fought a war seeking independence from the British monarchy, and yet over 17 million Americans tuned in to watch the royal tea spill.
Yep.
Two schools of thought fiercely emerge: those who are more sympathetic toward the crown, and those who stand by the couple.
Yes.
And as my next guest pointed out, that divide seems right along party lines.
How is
Many
that?
who lean left predominantly view Meghan and Harry as victims of an unwavering institution.
Yep.
And relentless British tabloid coverage, all with racist undertones.
Mm-hmm.
I was not surprised by the racism that Meghan has received, because she's been attacked and attacked and attacked in the tabloids.
The reality is that some of this stuff is about the contradictions within the system, and the royal family is a very class-based institution where everybody has their rank.
There's been 1,200 years of no mingling with other races. What makes you think, anybody think, that they're going to be okay with this?
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
those
the left.
who lean right mostly view the privileged couple as naive and selfish.
I, quite frankly, hearing from a duchess, a princess, about her oppression and her victimhood is quite laughable.
Imagine getting Netflix and Spotify deals reportedly worth more than $100 million.
I like that.
Just because you turned your back on your family and then claimed victim status on the way out the door. That's just royally embarrassing.
It's not like Prince, whatever his name is, and his angry wife from Los Angeles are compelling.
Whatever his name is.
You know exactly who they are. He's weak and unhappy. She's a manipulative opportunist.
She strikes me as someone who wants to be perceived as this naive American who didn't know what she was getting into.
So why would I
social media?
Why would I even bring that up? Why would I even bring that up and show that? Because that was multiple people talking about it. I didn't even watch it until someone said, Larry, you got to watch it. I'm like, why do I want to watch this? I don't care about the royal family. It's not even our royal family. At least if it was ours, maybe I'd care if they were King of America or something, right? I already have a king. His name is King Andrew Cuomo II. Oh, hail the king. I already have a king. I don't need another one. So I didn't care about that at all. But people said I had to watch it. And I thought when I first heard this, because it's like compelling, or there's going to be some libertarian message in it or something. And then I watched it and I thought, why did I throw an hour of my life away watching this thing? Why did I do that? And that was the part that drove me nuts, that we were actually fighting over this and deciding that, well, it's because social issue, I guess. We picked a side on this. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, COVID still exists. Our economy is garbage. We're fighting overseas. We're literally bombing all types of stuff, right? We're bombing other countries, and we're concerned about this. That's the thing that needs to lead the news. Now, I'm not mad at you if you happen to like the royal family. Lots of people do. It seems cool and exciting. It's someone else's royal family. That's great. And if you like it and you want to read the stories or watch the TV shows or documentaries, good on you. I hope you enjoy it and it's entertaining and wonderful. But news? News. No, that wasn't news. That's entertainment, right? And if you like it, please enjoy. I can't believe that this is something. And even if you want to make it something, and even if you want to make it because of the racial issue, and I get the racial issue is absolutely something that bothers people, makes people angry, makes sense. I get it. But then why did that all of a sudden become left-right? The reality of it is, whether you care or not about this, that it's clearly going to be a little bit of both sides. Clearly, it's a family squabble. You've been in a family squabble. So have I. We've all been in family squabbles. And in no case at all is it ever all one side's right. Ever. Even when it was me, and I'm always right. I'm kidding. Even when I get upset with my wife or my kids or my mom before she passed, I'm not, it's never 100%. 90% me. No, it's never 100%. But for you either, for anybody. And what I know, I'm sure, whatever Meghan and Harry said, that's their side. And they might feel it to be true. I don't know if they're manipulating it. Who knows? But without question, that's their side, which means probably not 100% true regardless. And the royals, I'm sure it's not 100% either. But then again, let's say that Meghan and Harry are totally lying, making it up completely, all just made up. So? Okay, so? Does your kid get a better education? Does mine? Do we get better jobs? Is the economy better? Is our government better? Can we go outside and open a restaurant? If they're lying? What if they're totally true? Everything they said's true. The royal family's terrible racists. Okay, totally horrible. Great. And? That's my point. It just doesn't matter. And I feel sometimes that we will just fight over anything. And when we do that, we forget about the things that actually matter. This to me is total and absolute divide and conquer across our nation. And sadly, most of us are falling for it. Me too. I watched it too. Not initially, but when people told me to watch it, I assumed it was something. I'm going to miss this cool thing. So I watched it and I thought, did I really watch this? And I don't want to take a stance on this. I don't want to give you my opinion whether Meghan's right or Meghan's a racist or the royal family's a racist. I don't care at all. It means nothing to any of us. I don't care. The royal family's racist. Awesome. The royal family's not racist. Awesome. Meghan's a liar. Awesome. Meghan's not a liar. Awesome. Yes to all of it. And that's what I wanted to bring that up because it bugged me tremendously. And I thought it was an interesting way of starting this conversation tonight. Thank you for putting up with my rant. You know where I'm going with this. Let me grab some comments if I can, some questions, a bunch of them. I appreciate that. How can the American people get physically and actively involved in getting their local, state, and federal governments to permanently stop putting people into racial, ethnic category groups? Oh my God, what a great question. And oh my God, is it hard? This actually is a cultural issue. It is a cultural issue more than it is anything else. There's a second piece. It's a federal issue. I know you're asking local, state, and federal, but most of the reasons why local and state, not all, but most of the reasons why local and state agencies capture data, racial, ethnic category groups, is so they can get federal funding. They have to show that they've done X, Y, and Z or said so-and-so they can get federal funding. So if you end a lot of federal funding, you will by default end this requirement. I'm not against companies decide to do this for other reasons. I don't mind, up to them if companies want to, but you should also be able to say, I don't want to give information if I don't want to. Why does a company want this versus why does a government want this? A company wants this for marketing. Clearly, they want to see, oh, women, do I have a bunch of Spanish speakers? Awesome. I'm going to do my commercials in Spanish or whatever the case may be, right? They're absolutely trying to find a way to market to subgroups. That's why companies want this. Governments want this so they can check boxes and say, see, we have provided services. We made a change. Check box. And government, you basically can't say no to. I mean, you can, but you can't. So you don't want to lie in a government form because you go to jail. You lie in some marketing form. So what? You've given some company bad data, which I'd rather not give them bad data. I'd rather give them no data versus bad data because now they're going to market it effectively. And that's kind of crappy. So I would rather just give them no data. So how do we do it? Number one, by stopping the federal government from having to give so much money out. The less money the federal government gives out, the less data they'll be required to grab. Number one. Second piece is, do we want to make this culturally this way, right? I'll give you an example. There was I don't have it. I should show it. You brought this up and I should have shown it. They were showing data on people who have received the COVID-19 vaccine. And there was a percentage, right? I forgot the number, whatever it was. Y%, Z% for each group. And it was Black, Asian, Hispanic, Latino. And Black was like 6 point something percent. Hispanic was like 7%. Asian was like 4%. And then, of course, they go, we need to worry. Why is the Black, population so low? And I'm saying it's almost the same as Hispanic. Didn't mention it. And Asian was lower. Didn't mention it. It's a cultural issue. We are working and worrying about Black communities right now. How do we make it to where instead of worrying about only a Black community, we worry about people who are in trouble, period. Now, will that be more Black than white? Yes, because statistically, percentage-wise, maybe not overall, because there are obviously more white people than there are Black people. So overall, it may be more white people, but by percentage, it will be more Black people. That's the data right now. That's what will happen. So I think if we start moving towards helping people in trouble, I think that's the next thing. To be forward with you, though, this is multiple years before this changes. Multiple years. This is not a tomorrow thing. This is a 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now thing. I hope I answered your question. So, all right. Jimmy says, thank you for taking a chunk of your day to deal with the problems of this nation. We appreciate you. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. I appreciate it tremendously. And of course, Pete brings it up. $27 trillion, almost $28 trillion national debt. So you know what I care about? Whether Meghan feels bad or not. I do. That's what matters to me. Whether the royal family's racist or not. That's critical. Pete, who cares about this? Get your priorities straight, okay? What's far more important is the British royal family racist or not? You and your $27 trillion. How about the important things in life? Totally out of whack, man. Get up the program. All right, yes. I don't like that Larry isn't the governor of New York yet. I agree. I'm with you. I wish I was. Things would have changed tremendously. Liberty Shamrocker, great topic. And no, it doesn't have to be this way. I think you're right. It's just hard. Why, as a libertarian, we must meet people where they are. And we all had a journey to get here. I think that it's a valid point. And you know what? I probably should have watched it, even though I didn't want to, because it is a cultural thing that I wanted to be able to comment on at least. I don't want to take a position because it doesn't matter. But you're right. I should have watched it so I can get to people where they are, because clearly we care about the royal family. I mean, it is very popular. For those of you who don't know, the royal family makes a lot of money for the UK. People wonder why. Oh my God, why do we have this royal family? Why do the Brits still have it? Because they bring in over $800 million a year to the UK's treasuries. Literally, that's cash that goes into the UK's treasuries because of people rushing over to, buy plates or whatever with the royal family. I don't know, Princess Diana shirts or whatever is the thing. People really love the royal family. They care tremendously. I don't, but you know what? People do. And I want to be clear. I'm not trashing you if you like the royal family, if you think it's fun or cool. Please enjoy your life as you see fit. I'm just saying it's not news. Go buy your plate or go visit the palace or something to get your whatever Prince Harry t-shirt. All good. If that's what you like, please go do that. I love it. I buy all types of t-shirts I probably shouldn't buy. So we're good. No worries. So Own the mask holes. Oh, is that the insult of the day, Craig? All right, there we go. There's the new one. There we go. Are we going to take down Cuomo? Evan, I hope so. I got to be forward. I don't want him to be the governor. That's for sure. But if I had the option of how he gets removed, I would rather, if I had a choice, I would rather him either be impeached or he loses an election. I'd rather one of those two. The resign part I can't stand, but I would take it, right? So I'm telling you my levels. I would take it, but I'd rather him lose an election or be impeached because that's a real repudiation of him and what he stands for. Resigning, he can just, excuse me, pretend like, well, bad people and cancel culture or whatever. He can always go that route. So, yeah. So, Steven says, and those who don't give a shit at all. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And to his point, we should not pay attention until people brought it up. Yeah, I didn't care at all until like 4 or 5 people started texting me and emailing me and bugging me saying, Larry, you got to watch this thing. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll do it. Fine. Absolutely. Pete says, inflation is taxation that most don't account for. I am worried. I am concerned about inflation starting coming up here, but not right now, Pete. As a general rule, inflation doesn't happen now because we throw a lot of money at this. We're throwing $2 trillion at it right now, right? Almost 1.9, whatever, plus whatever last year. So I don't think we're going to see an inflation problem right away. I think they're just going to throw tons of money at it, and throwing money at a problem is very good when it comes to short term, right? Oh, I've got a problem. Throw money at it. It feels good. I'm doing something. I'll buy our way out of it. It does sound cool up front, but it's always long-term problems. That's how it always works. So my personal view, I don't see any real inflation this year. Next year, probably. If there's another crash or stagnation, massive inflation. That's when it actually happens. When they have to write the next $2 trillion check or something. I think that's a problem right there. Absolutely. So, Susan says, our news needs a serious makeover. Yes. Yes. And to be forward, as I've said it before, I actually don't mind the opinion pieces. I don't. My problem is they call it news. It winds up being the only news. Right? I remember if you look at, when I used to be a sales rep, I used to drive around selling stuff. I was a sales rep. I was always driving around and listen to talk radio sometimes in the car. And I would hear, talk radio, and it was opinion. And it was people like, this is years ago. This is back when Glen Beck was a morning show host. Some of you may remember that. He was in Philadelphia. He was a morning show host. That's back 20 years ago. So back in the day, you drive by and he was doing, the morning zoo show or whatever. That's what he was doing in Philadelphia. That kind of show, right? A comedy show type thing. So I would listen to his opinions. I'd listen to someone else's opinions and this guy's opinions and whatever the case may be. But it wasn't news. News came on and at every hour, right? The hour they do like 5 minutes of here's what's happening. That's the news. And then it was talk. So you knew it was opinion. It would say talk and opinion. But then guys like Sean Hannity, who had a talk show during the day, which is totally fine if you want to have a talk show, give your opinions, then went to Fox News and got a news show. It's the same show. It was a talk show then. It's a talk show now. Not against Sean Hannity having a show. Have a show. Watch his show if you like Sean Hannity. All good. It's just not news. Excuse me, guys. Got a frog in my throat all of a sudden. Hold on. Just getting my voice back from last week, so I apologize. Oh, excuse me 1 second. This is what happens when you go live. Excuse me 1 second, guys. I have returned. Frog removed, I think. We'll find out. But that's my issue. Right? I don't mind them having a talk show. They should have a talk show. They should enjoy. You should be able to absolutely say what you feel and listen to someone. It's just not news. And the worst part now is it's tough to find news. That's the hard part. If you want to go right now, even to what used to be news, CNN had a station called HLN, and it was called Headline News. That used to be an actual news station where you would just go there and you'd hear, here's what happened. That now is full of TV shows. Like, Find the Alligator in Florida show. Like, that's the news show now? Mystery program. How do you find news? You have to literally search for news now. It's difficult. The only way you can get it really is maybe your local stations like New York One here in New York or something like that. Maybe some ABC, NBC, CBS affiliates. That's about it. Everything else is just opinion. CNN and Fox and MSNBC are just opinion. Again, not that I'm against it, but where's the news? That's my issue. Rebecca says, because ratings. Yes, I know. It's true. It's because ratings. Susan, COVID, Myanmar. Yeah, let's not hear about that. Let's talk about, I don't know, whatever else we're talking about. Absolutely, I agree. Shelley says, Cuomo is taking himself out. He had many Italian supporters until he said that sexual harassment was part of their ethnicity of being Italian. Oh, I didn't hear that one. Is that what he actually said, Shelley? Wow. That's bad even for him. I mean, he does some bad stuff, but oh my God, really? That's wow, bad. Okay, whatevs. If that's what he wants to do, then that's what he wants to do. I that's tough. I am worried again to the same thing. As we worry about his sexual harassment issues, there are two parts of that bother me. Number one, I have people saying that he, was a sexual assault. There's a difference. Harassment's bad. Assault is bad. Rape is bad. They're all terrible. All I'm saying is they're different. So for some people, some of the women supposedly he actually grabbed. That's assault. That's assault. 100%. Someone he just said dumb stuff to and horrible stuff to, that's harassment, allegedly, right? That's harassment. We should make those two things clear. And the second piece is, remember that like thousands of people died in nursing homes? Do we forget that? Kind of important. Cover up. Kind of important. That's kind of going away. Is this more distraction? Pete says, how do we best prepare for the collapse of the U.S. dollar? There are many ways to prepare. And I think some of the best ways are actually going to be cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency will probably, have some form of explosion coming up here as people begin to lose, trust in the dollar. But the dollar's not going to collapse yet, Pete. We have time. We have time before it'll collapse. It'll be a while. My gut says at least 5 years, maybe 10, but at least 5 before it collapses. At least. Maybe 10 or 20. Remember, the dollar is backed by force. It's backed by U.S. Marines and a nuclear, arsenal and the U.S. Navy. And, it's backed by force. Drones. That's what it's really backed by. You want our protection, when it comes to nuclear power, you want our protection, Japan and Germany. You want our nuclear shield so you don't have to buy a nuclear force. Dollars are number one, right? Yeah, it is. You don't want us to bomb you, you're Libya or Iran or whatever, right? Good, then take our dollar, right? So right now, that's what it's backed by. And it will still be backed by that for at least 5 years, maybe 10 or 20. But for sure 5, I would guess even further. As long as it's backed by force, the dollar's probably not going to collapse for a while. It will lose a bunch of value, but not collapse. We'll just throw more money behind it. And we'll force people to take it. Because they don't, we're the mob. Be ashamed if something would have happened to your country. That's who we are. So they're going to take the dollar anyway. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. However, cryptocurrency is not a bad idea. I own several different types, and I've owned for years. And I don't spend it. I just keep it. And hopefully it goes higher and higher, I hope. And if I ever have to use it, I can cash it out. That's one of the best ways of using it. Man, that frog is back. I apologize, guys. But not just that. You can prepare, of course, by doing that, but something else. By having value in things that you find value in. And I'm not joking when I say this. It can be anything. People also about things like, gold and silver and whatever. Those are all fine. If you like precious metals, those are all good too. Of course, those are nice, of course. But it can be anything. It could literally be, I'm not joking. It can be comic books. It can be baseball cards. value is what people feel value is, right? So you can stock up on whatever you think people will find valuable. Could be booze, could be gas. I mean, whatever you think people will have value and will be hard to find. Remember, value is always based upon one thing: perceived scarcity. So whatever is perceived to be scarce is what you should, keep. So I would look, Pete, what you think will be perceived as scarce if the dollar collapses, stock up on that, but stock up on something that you actually want or enjoy, want to be around, because you got to sit on it for a while. So if you think gold is dumb, don't buy gold. You like silver? Buy silver. If you think it's going to work, that's what I mean, right? Comic books, baseball cards, I don't care what you do. Beanie Babies, if you think that people are going to want them, that's valuable. So when currency goes away, in any way, value is based upon perceived scarcity. So what I would do is find something that you think you perceive as scarce or will be perceived as scarce and stock up on that. I'm a fan of cryptocurrency. I like it. I do cryptocurrency. It's what I do. So hope that was helpful. So Brian says, I'm still not concerned about the Royals, nor have I yet watched the interview, and no plans to watch it. Yeah, probably not a bad idea. Tolerance is gone. Gone. That's a tough one, Susan. It's hurting. I'm not sure it's gone. The issue is I look at this the same way I look at the libertarian movement. And this may sound funny for you libertarians, but you'll get it when I say this. For those who are not libertarians, you may not get this. The Libertarian Party has been losing elections and winning arguments for 50 years. Why have we been winning arguments? Because we're good at arguing. And we're right, of course. So we're good at arguing and we're right. So we tend to win arguments. So what do? We keep arguing. But the problem is, as we argue and make enemies, we keep losing elections because we keep making enemies. So it's not really productive, but we're good at it. And we feel comfortable doing it. So we do it. So I think that America is becoming that. The left and the right don't actually get anything done. I mean, we haven't had anything done, either bills, real change in any way in at least 30 years, right? I mean, except for the bad ones like the Patriot Act, right? With the exception of the bad ones of the Patriot Act, what have we really done in like 30 years? We saw about we could put a man on the moon. That was like 60 years ago. We won World War II. It's like 80 years ago. What are you talking about? This is not impressive anymore, right? What have we done 10 years ago? So that is a piece that we've kind of lost. So what do? We fight. We can win. We can own the bad guys. So I think we do it. It makes us. The culture war is a very easy war to fight when all the other wars are hard to fight. So you fight the culture war, right? I don't like you because you're this. You don't like me because I'm that. And boom. And then we keep going. So I think that's what the actual issue really is. The government needs to get involved in family problems. I know you are joking, Robert. Yes, I know you are joking. It does not need to get into it whatsoever. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes. So, all right. Larry, my wife tried to get vaccinated yesterday and is a caretaker and was unable to get vaccinated, even though, according to New York State standards, she is eligible. We should have used your idea to let retailers coordinate with vaccine companies to administer vaccines. Yes. Yeah. Instead, we need to allow our eternal Lord, King Cuomo, yes, oh, hail the king, to control it with his fake empathy while Florida has a better vaccination rate than we do. What a pathetic joke New York State is. I wish you were wrong, Avi, but you are correct. You are absolutely correct. It is a horrible system. It does not work well. The state gets in the way and makes things worse. West Virginia better than us. Florida better than us. All better than us. The harsh part, I mentioned this on my earlier show, A Free Solution, earlier today. New York State's budget, that now have an assumption for our budget this year, $208 billion. Yeah, $208 billion. How in the world can New York State, after COVID, the damage we did last year, how in the world can our budget grow by like $20 billion? How is that possible? The federal government only gave us 12, right? Uncle Joe's check was only $12 billion. I know, only $12 billion. Just $12 billion. So how are we going to make that money up? We can't. You know what we should worry about? Royal family. That'll fix it. That'll fix it. The royal family. That's what we should be caring about. But no, my point being is we spent all that money on vaccination centers. Why? Right down to the actual people who are doing it already. Right down to the actual pharmacies who are already there, already paying people, giving them jobs, vaccinating people, done deal, easy day. You first immediately say, 75 and older and maybe and hospital personnel. Fine. 75 years and older, hospital personnel. You have an ID for either of those two, get your vaccine. Now we go down, 70 and older. And I don't know, school teachers or whatever. Whatever the levels are. 75 in hospital, 70 in school teacher, 65 and firefighter or whatever's the right thing. And you just keep going down, 60 and restaurant worker, sort of thing here. And you just go all the way down. So you're done. That's the right way of doing it. And you would have seen a whole lot better results without question. And how do I know? Because West Virginia followed that and they had a much better rollout. And so did Florida. Absolutely. Yes. So, all right. Jimmy says, I think this interview with royalty was to fill the actual news with a distraction from what's going on. Maybe. I mean, I could see that. I'm not sure it's that. I'm not sure it's that planned. I don't know if I give enough credit. I think, they decided to walk away and Oprah said, I can be relevant again because everyone loves Oprah. And when Oprah wants to do stuff, people say yes to Oprah. And they're right. She's right. People love Oprah. And when Oprah says I'm interviewing, people show up, right? Because Oprah said so. That's true. So she's right. So maybe I think it's more reactive, though, if that makes any sense. I don't think it's planned. So, yeah. Americans care more about it than the Brits. They're also dealing with police brutality. Rebecca, I've always said that. I think that Americans like the British royal family more than the British do. When I was in London 3 years ago, and when I went to the touristy shops, there's no British people in there except selling stuff. Everybody buying stuff's a foreigner, right? They're all Americans or Canadians or whatever. They're from other parts of the country, other parts of the world. They're the ones buying, the Princess Diana shirt. It's not the Brits. They don't care. They're like, whatever. Keep paying our taxes. That's all they care about. I think that's what it is. Yes. So, Jeff says, Larry, you're really awesome. Thank you. But you need help with your audio, like for real, your clipping. I don't know what clipping is. I don't know what that means, Jeff. Right to the page, if you don't mind. Well, what are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. Right to the page, and we'll see if we can let my team will tell you what's going on. So please do that. I appreciate it. Thank you. So Ziggy says, 2 millionaires talking to a billionaire. None of what they say matters ever. Nicely done, Ziggy. I like that. That's true. 2 millionaires talking to a billionaire. Yeah. And about all that. This is one thing I'll go down this road. I'm gonna use this for something good, Ziggy. You're right. I get your point, but let me pull out a silver lining to that comment. It does go to show something that no matter what, while money does make your life easier, money absolutely gives you more opportunities. There's no question it does. It doesn't guarantee happiness, right? To be happy, you got to feel loved, feel respected, and have purpose. And you can have that with a lot of money or not a lot of money. Is it easier with a lot of money? Of course, because you have more options. You have more choices, right? Because you got more money. So, of course, more money does make that easier, but it doesn't guarantee it. You could still be very unhappy and be wealthy, and you can still be happy and not be wealthy. The question is, do you feel respected? Do you feel loved? And do you have purpose? If those three things are true, you're going to be happy. It's just human nature. So, yes. So, see, I pulled something nice out of that, Ziggy. You're correct. But I had to pull something nice out. So, even rich people can be unhappy. Of course. There we go. Tear down the wall at the U.S. Capitol. 100% yes. Absolutely yes. Why in the world do we have a wall around our own Capitol? What are they scared of? How bad are they to think you need a wall around that? What are they now going to put a moat next? It's literally a castle now. Terrible. Maybe we do have a royal family, Pete. Look at that. Maybe we do. Robert says federal incentive programs nearly all suck. No, not nearly. Just take out the nearly. All suck. Just yes. Because once that happens, now people start acting, right? Money that comes from the federal government always has strings attached. Robert's right. It always has strings attached and always puts you into a system. And once you're in that system, you're just a number. And then what winds up happening? Grifters. Oh, wait a minute. If I do that, my agency gets cash. Ooh, if we do that, we get some money. Let's go do that. But we don't have enough people who do that. Well, let's just make it. And that guy, Robert, let's make him into a number. Oh, but he doesn't do that. He didn't do anything wrong. Doesn't matter. If we have X people who do that, we get money, right? Yeah. Let's make Robert do it. Who cares? What happens? He's a number anyway. Who cares? And that keeps happening again and again and again. Now Robert's in a system. And he goes, well, wait. I'm not this thing that you've made me to get your federal funds. And they go, oh, we don't care. We got our money. We don't care. Go away. And if you've been part of that system, you know exactly what I mean. That's how it works. Federal incentive plans make things worse. Not better, worse. So, yes. I'm here for the stop of corruption, not speculation on who is racist or not. I like that. I'm talking treason. These people in office are treasonous. Evan, I think it's more important. I'm with you. Corruption, way more important than whether the royal family's racist. Yes, we're on the same page. Thank you. Bren says, with Americans' high taxes, everyone's entitled to UBI for how much the middle class have paid to the government until taxes are lowered about 10% of your lifetime income. I guess of less. I'm not sure what he's saying there. But this is something I want to bring up too. For those of you who are in the liberty movement, many of you got angry at me last year when I was talking about Judge Jim Gray's plan for negative income tax. And I brought it up more than once. Now, if you watched the show or heard me talk, you know I'm not a fan of UBI. I'm not. At the same time, I warned everybody last year that UBI is coming. People are like, nah, it's dumb. It's not going to work. It's terrible. I'm like, no, UBI is coming. So what did I do? I jumped on the best plan or the least bad plan of all the UBI schemes is the negative income tax. It's still a form of UBI, but it's the best one of all the UBI schemes. And it does have some incentive to it, which is good. We called the plan that Judge Jim Gray and I came up with the crutch to a ladder plan, changing it from a crutch to a ladder, allowing people to move up and to work their way off of public assistance. That's what we created. That was the plan. And boy, libertarians like, Larry, you suck. How dare you? Blah, 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 blah. Now, in case you don't know, recent polling, more than 50% of Americans support UBI. Yep. It's coming. You can be mad about it all you want, yell at me, blame me, whatever. We, as libertarians, as liberty movement, have not moved the nation to understand how things should work. We simply haven't done it. We have failed at it. You can be mad if you want to. It's the truth. Okay. UBI is coming. If we don't come up with a right plan, we're going to get a terrible plan. We're going to get a Yang plan, which is basically keep everything. Here's more money. Just add more money. We're going to get that. I would like to not have that form of UBI. We just gave out $2 trillion. How many more trillions are we going to give out? Just keep giving it out? I don't know. Pete, you better get some more Beanie Babies then, because we're going to be in trouble. That's all I'm saying. We're going to be in trouble. Yes. Larry, although I don't want to mandate insurance the way Obamacare did, we support a program where every person pays like an insurance tax out of their salary. In essence, it would be a voucher, and a person can use that as a voucher to any insurance you want instead of the government providing insurance. In countries like Israel, they do this where a percentage of your salary goes towards insurance, and basically your voucher goes to an insurance company of your choice. It's a great question, right? Basically, what you're saying is it's similar to like Social Security, right? Everyone pays a certain amount, and then when you need it, you can go ahead and use it. There are some issues with that. Is it better than Medicaid for all? Yes. So let me go there. Is it better than Medicaid for all? Yes. That I would say yes to 100%. Better than that. The problem is you're basically creating a single payer system. So it's similar to a single payer system. But because now the insurance company is getting money from the government. And what I'm trying to achieve in healthcare is allowing the patient to be the customer. While that's closer to the patient being a customer, I would like the patient to actually be the customer. And then how do we wean people off of that? If you did something like that, some style where everyone pays a tax or something, if you went down that road, you would have to have it to where it's basically like a credit card or like a debit card type, to where all I do is swipe the card in the place that I go. Something like that, to where they're not trying to get money from the government. They're still getting money from your debit or your card. Once they're trying to get paid from the government, you wind up having a system that will struggle to work. Now, will it work better than what we have now? Probably. Will it work better than Medicare for All? I think yes. It's better. I don't think it's the answer, though. And my worry about it is, unless that is a stepping stone to something else, or unless you add other private market incentives, I feel like you could go only there. And I know Israelis are happier with their Medicare, with their medical care. Agreed. Israel also has some other advantages. Israel is a smaller country physically by many, measurements smaller. We're at 10 million people in Israel, give or take, in that area. Am I about right? So, I mean, there's more people in New York State than there are in just Israel. So it's a much, much smaller country. And on top of that, right now, Israel, compared to the rest of their area, they're making a lot of money. They're a wealthy, small state relative to everyone, all the neighbors. So I think there's the two issues where this also working well for them. And a lot of innovation coming out of Israel last 10, 15 years, tons of innovation coming out of Israel. Lots of entrepreneurial spirit, lots of innovation. So that system may not work 20 years from now if Israel's environment, not their environment, if Israel's, business culture shifts in the next 20 years. So I hope that makes sense. Would I accept that instead of a Medicare for All? Yes. Is that where I want to go? No, I want to go to a much more private market system. I hope I answered your question. I keep going. All right. Chris says, trying not to be such a conspiracy theorist, but really suspecting so many of these distractions are purposefully pushed to divide and distract from, a giant corporate welfare bill. Yes, Chris. This is the thing I'll bring up again. I've said it before, but I'll keep saying it. It matters this much. If the goal of the stimulus package was just to stimulate the economy, if that was the actual goal, no worries. And you got $2 trillion to spend. I love it. $2 trillion divided by what? 200 million people, whatever is the amount of adults there are in America, 250 million, something like that. Divvy it up. Whatever that number is, what's it about? 10 grand, 15, whatever that number is, right? Write them a check. Every household gets what? 15, 20,000, to two people in a household. So $15,000, $20,000. There you go. There's your check. Take 20 grand, 15 grand, whatever. Go spend. That's a stimulus program. Why do you have to give all the extra dollars? Larry, you don't understand. You've got to fund the government. If you give a bunch of people $10,000, the vast majority of them will just go spend it. And when they spend it, it will spur commerce, which will spur taxes, which will pay for the government. So why do I have to pay the government directly? Right? So the other day about this on a podcast. So now you got a store that, isn't making money because it's a grocery store, not making money. So you give the grocery store money. Or give the local people money so they can buy from the grocery store. And the grocery store can make money and survive. Why are you giving the grocery store money? Give the people in the area money and they'll buy from the grocery store. Now, I'm not about bailouts. I'm just saying, if you're going to do a bailout of us, if that's the goal, if you're saying, Larry, I care about you and I want you to be better, then write me a check then if you care about me. Or don't lie. Like you're saying, don't lie and act like it's for us. It's a corporate welfare bill. I would just say, I actually felt better about when they said they're bailing out the banks. While I hated it, at least it was honest. But bailing the banks out, guys, it's crappy. They own us. We own them. You guys don't matter. Here's a check to them. As much as I hated it, it was honest. This one's a lie. This one's like, we care about you. You're getting $1,400. Come on now. You're welcome. And it's like, that's not going to save me for the next 6 months. That's not going to prep me for the next year. Don't get me wrong. If you get the money, please spend it. Enjoy, right? If the government gives you money, spend it, please. Right? Of course. I'm just saying it's a lie. I think you're right, Chris. It's a distraction. If it really was only to help us all out, write a big check for a bunch of money, go spend it, spur commerce, economy, hope we can get things moving and pay off some taxes, pay off some debt. That would be the hope. Probably not, though. That's the problem. Yeah. It seems to me that if we had less interference from government, we would have less social problems. It doesn't just seem to you. It seems to lots of people. Remember something. Whenever you add government, you by default remove community. That's how that works. You add government, you remove community. So as we add government, now the communities that help people go away, and we need to have a community option. You guys all know my policies. I'm never about just get rid of government. I've never said that. It's not my thing. Why? Because government is a monopoly, and when you get rid of it, people aren't serviced, and people need services. People need help. They do. So how about instead we have community options now first that compete against the government to help people in their communities. Right now, you have so many communities that haven't helped each other in so long, they don't have the institutional knowledge to do it. They don't have the bodies and people here to do it. They just don't have it. So yeah, why don't we focus on that? You're totally right. We'd have less social problems if we had more community options, and we don't. David said the Tuskegee experiments might be the reason why some blacks don't get the vaccine. I would agree. You do have a culture or a worry that not trust the government, right? For those who don't know, the Tuskegee experiments were when the government was knowingly either giving Black Americans syphilis, I think it was syphilis, and or allowing them to keep syphilis and lying and saying they were giving them vaccines so they could test how it would spread in Black communities. They were knowingly giving syphilis to Black people. The government was. And this, if you think I'm making this up, do your own homework. It is an absolute fact. Giving it to Black people so they can go into their communities and give syphilis to their families. That is a real thing that actually happened. And that was just last century, in the 20th century. So if you want to check it out, go ahead. That actually happened. And there are people who are still like, yeah, could this be that? Now, I don't think that's that. But I get the fear. I do. Yes. So, all right. If I can keep going here. If I'm not mistaken, the past 3 presidents have surpassed the last with American dollars spent, with Joe Biden continuing this trend. Perhaps not because Trump had to deal with the COVID initially. Yeah, they keep spending. Oh, yes, they keep spending. Trump outspent Obama. Obama outspent Bush. Biden outspent Trump. Yep. It's like they're trying. Like, oh, you only spent that? Psh, let me show you how to spend. Oh, yeah, they all spend each other. That's what they do. They outspend each other. Boom, boom. They just keep going. Absolutely. My dad started a minority club because he claimed on the papers for the college asked his status. So he, being born in Queens, marked Native American. The last I knew, it was voted best minority club on campus in New York. That's actually funny. I like that, Native American. I remember I had a friend, a close friend. He was born in a Jewish enclave in Egypt. And he then moved to New York. His family moved to New York in the 40s or 50s. And South Bronx, so you don't know where I grew up in the South Bronx in the 70s, used to be a very Jewish community in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. It was a very Jewish community. Now it isn't very much Jewish at all. When I was a kid, there was still a lot of older Jewish people there who just hadn't left from the 30s and the 40s. But he actually was in the South Bronx too. So when he came, he said he was from Egypt, which is true. He's a white guy, Jewish, born in Egypt. And he said, I'm African-American. It's just funny. Same kind of thing. It's true. He's from Africa and he's American. He's African-American. Just funny. That's all. So yes. All right. Let's see if we can get here. Ed says, we cannot get away from it. I am a huge auto racing fan. Bubba Wallace drew all kinds of attention to a sport that I never thought was that racist in its modern era. But apparently I've been around a super racist sport for 30 years now. Who knew? It's so bad that a driver and team decided to create a tragic event out of a garbage door pull in the infield at Talladega, a noose. But why, though? We don't need the fake outrage to make changes where it's needed. I see I remember that. Now, you know what? I'm remembering that. Yes. I remember it was a pole that they would grab and close the garage door, and it looked like a noose, and people were now seeing nooses everywhere. I remember that. Yes. You know, it's funny you bring this up. I'm not an auto racing fan, not my thing, not my thing. But I've never thought of it myself. And again, I'm an outsider here. I've never thought of it as racist. I thought of it as Southern. That's what I've always like. My image of auto racing was like Dukes of Hazzard, right? That's always my image. You guys remember that 70s show? That was always my image of auto racing. That was a Southern sport. Like, oh, people in the South like that sport. That was always my image of it. But I didn't assume that it was racist. I never did. And I think people my age don't think that. I think the younger people might think that. But I never thought of it as racist. I always thought of it as just a Southern sport that people in the South liked. And me being a New Yorker, I didn't really care that much for it. That's how I always thought. I know that people not in the South like racing. I'm telling you what my image was, Ed. I'm not saying what's factually true. I don't know what's factually true. I'm only telling you my image of it. And I think it was just easy to get people to try to make a symbolic change. Like, I know you can't have the Confederate flag on the cars now or something like that, right? There's rules like that. And what bothers me about that is not that you should or shouldn't have the Confederate flag on your car. That isn't the issue for me. My issue is it's symbolic again. I'd like us to be more than just symbolic. If we're going to make a change, make a change. If there's some change, make it. This idea of we're going to do things like, take Aunt Jemima off the syrup, or take the Confederate flag off of a car. You know why you should take a Confederate flag off your car? Because you think it's a bad idea. And if you think it's a bad idea, take it off. Because you've decided, you know what? It's not appropriate. I'm taking it off. Okay. But if you're like, no, it's appropriate. I want a Confederate flag on my car. Put it on your car. In fact, I'll go even further. This may be controversial. If you are an actual racist, and I'm by no means saying everyone who puts a Confederate flag on their car is a racist, but some people are. If you're an actual racist and think the South should rise again and slavery is a good idea, if you're one of those guys, okay, great. I'd rather you say it. I'd rather you put it on your car. If you're a Nazi, I'd rather you wear the armband. I'm not joking. I don't want to cancel the armband. If you're a Nazi, I want to know exactly where you are. I want to go, oh, the Nazis guy over there with the armband. Oh, good. Know where he is. So he's over there? Okay, good. I want to know where the guy is. So this idea of just getting rid of things, and now that we got rid of it, now there's no more racists. And now we can't have a Nazi flag. Now there's no more Nazis. Do you know who figured out how that does not work? Germans did. Yeah. In case you don't know this, there are still nationalists in Germany. They can't be called Nazis because that's against German law. They can't have the swastika because that's against German law. But for those of you who don't know, if you ever watch the nationalists march in Germany, they will always have the old German flag, which is red, white, and black, which is the colors of the Nazi flag too, coincidentally, because that was German colors prior to the current flag. It was red, white, black. They now fly that flag because, you won't know what that means. And they talk about nationalism. That's it. Not Nazis. They're not hiding. So just because you block the symbol doesn't mean you stop the person. And here's the thing. If you just told people what you felt about it, a lot of people will go, you know what? Let me take it down. Some people wouldn't. But at a minimum, you'd have a conversation. And I'd rather have a conversation than call someone a racist and then never talk to me again. So here's what I'm sure of. Are there racist people who fly the Confederate flag? Of course. Of course they exist. Every person who flies the Confederate flag is a racist? Of course not. Of course not. Silly to even imagine that. There are people here in New York State who fly the Confederate flag. Yes, New York State. They're not thinking the South will rise again. They're not thinking that. They're thinking that's a rebel flag. I'm pissed off. I hate my government, so I'm flying a rebel flag. That's what they think. So anyway, I don't know why I was going with this. My point is, I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as it is. And I don't, as people say it is. And if it is, then I want to know. If you're a Klansman, please wear the hood. I would like you to wear the hood so I can see where the Klansmen are, right? This is something that I'm totally okay with that. If you're a Klansman, Wear your hood. I'm good with it. Wear the robe and the whole deal. Okay. You over there? Okay. I got you. So that's where I stand, Ed. That's where I stand. All right. Let me keep doing this if I can. I like that. Down with the king of New York. Nicely done. Nicely done, Tony. I did get that reference. I did. Absolutely. So Jay says, who has divided us? Is there an institution that wants a big left-right divide so they can conquer? I think it's the elite. I think it is the establishment of both the left and the right. You know, when it comes to control, they both want it. And if they can divide and conquer, they don't have to do anything, right? Remember, as if I'm on the left or the right, as long as I hate it and I hate the other, I'm going to support the guy who does nothing as long as he hates the other also. I get it in my own party. A lot of people who are mad at me aren't actually mad at me for what I say. They're mad at me because I won't hate the other. Like they hate those guys and I'm supposed to hate those guys. And I won't hate those guys. So they go, well, Larry, you're one of them then. Because you won't hate them, you're one of them. And I get that. I think the people who are in charge are concerned. That's what I think. So, all right. Let's see here. I'm leaving despite the fact that everything you are saying, I'm clipping too much. I don't know what that means, Jeff. I hope you will respond and let me know. I don't know what you're saying. If someone knows what that means, please tell me. So Shelly says, I'd rather they just arrest him on known felony charges. Yes. Nicely done. Yes. 100%. Yes. Dean says, as an Aussie, technically we still come under the royal family. And I know I don't care either. Just nonsense. It's true. Yes. Officially, it was Canada, Australia, like Bermuda or a bunch of the Caribbean islands. Is it Jamaica too? I'm not sure if Jamaica also is officially under the Commonwealth. A couple of African nations to include South Africa, New Zealand. So there are several that come under the British Empire. Is Singapore under the British Empire? I'm not even sure. Under the Commonwealth. It's no longer called British Empire. It's called the Commonwealth. So yes, absolutely. So Logan says, it seems like Americans care more about the interview than here in Canada, who has the Queen as our head of state. Yeah, Americans love. We fought a war to fight them, and we just can't get enough of them. We do love them. It's true. I mean, I'm not saying you and I or anyone watching, but I'm saying Americans as a whole. We really do love that. Absolutely, yeah. So, Shelly says, jump in, out, and back in. The sound is fine here. So maybe I'm not clipping. I don't know, Jeff. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's you, man. Anyway, let me know. I don't mind anyway. So, Paula says the only real news I can find is outside the States. I find that problem too, Paula. I do. Having to look to other places like BBC or something just to find news, it becomes challenging. Or having to watch a morning show news or having to watch a local news station, which is full of, also a bunch of feel-good stuff, which I don't mind the feel-good stuff, but I've got to get through all those things. Yes, I agree. Yep. So, Glen Beck used to be intentionally funny. That's true. If you guys, I don't know if any of you remember Glen Beck, but he used to be a morning show guy back in the day before he became what he is now. I still remember him from those. I used to watch his is it PAT in Philadelphia? Maybe it's 20 years ago or so. So yeah, absolutely. Jimmy says, Larry, did you catch what happened in Tennessee legislature? And R introduced a bill to reduce the amount of signatures for third parties. It was shut down immediately. Yeah, I know. We're having trouble. We've been having trouble in Tennessee for a long time getting ballot access. And this is the reason. They don't want third parties at all. Absolutely. Avi says, Larry, after Gina Carano was canceled by Disney and moved to Daily Wire, do you see a conservative and libertarian entertainment industry emerging to combat all the stupid woke stuff taking over mainstream entertainment? I am very unhappy by this move. And here's why I'm so unhappy by this move. So many reasons why I don't like Gina being canceled or taken off of Disney. I actually don't watch Disney Plus. I've never seen The Mandalorian, and I didn't know who she was. I had no idea who she was until this happened. So this is not a knock on her. I'm sure she's a fine actor who does a great job in the thing she's in. She's getting work, so I'm sure she's a fine actor getting good work. Good on her. What I'm saying is she's more popular now from this. So if you don't like what she's saying, if you're some guy or gal who goes, Gina's saying bad stuff, I don't like her, You just made her more popular. Canceling doesn't work. If you just would have let her stay on a damn show and said nothing, I would still not know who she was, and I would still not know what she said. I don't watch Disney Plus. I've never seen The Mandalorian. So I would still not know who she is. She wouldn't have her own show. She wouldn't be more popular. She wouldn't become a hero. So leave her alone. Let her say what she wants to say. If you don't like what she's saying, walk away. Don't give her more of a platform if you don't like what she's saying. Trying to cancel her made it worse for you if you don't like what she's saying. I personally don't care, but I'm just saying, for someone who doesn't like it, what are you doing? You're making stuff worse. And here's the worst part of it that I actually do care about. What you're talking about, Avi. I don't want a conservative/libertarian entertainment industry emerging. That's what's happening. I don't want it. You've watched my show. You've seen my show. I have purposely put on people from the left and the right. I put the left of the left on this show. And I have a problem sometimes. You guys get mad at me when I do it. Sometimes I'll put a person, particularly from the left on, because the left doesn't want to come on. The left's tactics towards me tend to be ignore. The right's tactics tend to be attack. And I'm much better at jujitsu. I'm much better at when someone comes at me, I can turn them. So I'm better at having the right have the conversation when the left doesn't want to talk to me. So when someone from the left comes on, sometimes you've seen it. They're not prepared to have a real conversation. They're just not ready. And if I push them at all, they'll look terrible. And if they look really bad, they'll never come back on, and they'll tell their friends never come back on. So I have to give them kid gloves. And often I don't realize that till I start asking them questions and I watch them begin to flounder and I go, okay. This just became softball. Sorry. I thought we were playing hardball. We're not. We're playing softball. And I got to start playing softball. Otherwise, I'm going to make them look terrible. And then they never come back. I don't want to fight the left. I don't want to fight the right. I want to convert everybody. So, Avi, I think you're right. And I think it is happening. I'm not happy about it. I would rather us all be together and talk together. How we can look. Conservatives, libertarians aren't always right either. I mean, I'm always right. I'm kidding, teasing. They're not always right either. So how about the left talks too and says, hey, maybe you're wrong on something. Let's have some conversations here. Conservatives aren't always right. Progressives aren't always right. Only libertarians are always right. I'm just saying, only we are. Everyone else is wrong. So they should be talking with each other, especially with us, so they can be right. So my point being, I think it is happening, Avi. And I'm unhappy that it's happening. I don't want us to be splitting up, but I see it happening. And if you're someone who doesn't like what Gina says, canceling her isn't helping. So if you're progressive right now listening going, I'm going to cancel these people, you're not helping. You should instead ignore them, and it's way better. Way better. So anyway, hope that was true. Australia seems to have the most actual news about our country. Oh, that's weird. Australia, huh? I wonder why, Shelley. That seems kind of odd. I wonder why. What's special about that? Yeah. I'm old enough to remember when CNN used to be somewhat newsy. Yes, Paul, you're right. When CNN first came out, it was heavy news. You get 90s CNN. People were mad they used to call it the Clinton News Network. It was nowhere near as bad as it is now. You are totally correct. If you can go back and look at CNN in the 90s, it's not even close to as bad as it was now. It was much more newsy. But I would say even just go before Trump was running for office. Once Trump started running for office, CNN just went hardcore left. But prior to Trump running for office, CNN was left. I'm not pretending they weren't. They were left, but nowhere near as bad. They were much more newsy, to your point, Paula, than they are now. Now it's just literally hours and hours upon Trump evil, Democrats good, Trump evil, Democrats good. And Trump's not even president anymore. And it's still hours and hours of Trump evil, Democrats good. It's hours of that. And the insurrection and the white supremacists, it's just hours and hours of that now. It wasn't that way. I will go back just to 2015. 2014. I mean, Trump was kind of running in 2015. So go 2014 CNN. If you can look at anything from 2014, just watch any of the shows. It's different. You will look at it and go, whoa, is that CNN? All right. Not so bad. It was watchable. It really was. So yes, I think you're totally correct. Yes. So All right, here. Let's see if I can go here. Will King Cuomo get a gig on CNN if he leaves office? They could have the Cuomo Brothers Hour or whatever, right? Cuomo to Cuomo. That's not a bad idea. Yes, absolutely. Tom Stewart, I watched the CNN shows yesterday morning. They spent half the time telling me what Fox is covering. Yes, exactly. There are a few shows I watch. For those of you who actually care to find shows that while they're left will give you good information. CNN weekend shows are decent. Not great. They're decent. I like, as you know, I like Fareed Zakaria. He obviously leans left, clearly, but at least you'll get real information. You'll get real data, real information that he'll spin left. Michael Smerconish is nowhere near as left as people think he has been. So maybe you don't know. I watch his show. He's on Saturday mornings. Michael Smerconish was the only person ever to guest host both on CNN and Fox in the same week. That tells you something. The guy is pretty much as middle of the road as you're going to find, right? He probably leans a little bit left because he's on CNN now, but you're going to get a decent back and forth with him. You really are. So it's not a bad show. He's on Saturday mornings and Fareed's on Sunday mornings. So if you want Sunday shows, my view is those two. Fox News Sunday is also good. Chris Wallace, he'll beat up left and right. He'll beat up the left and he'll beat up the right. So he's good on those also. I like those three. Those three I like. Stephanopoulos is useless. Meet the Press, useless. These are useless shows. Don't waste your time watching any of them. They should have gone away a long time ago. They're useless shows. The three that I will watch is Fox News Sunday. That's obviously on Fox. And then I can't watch MSNBC. It's just too far left. And then CNN, I'll do Smerconish on Saturday and Fareed on Sunday. Those three, in my view, are, in my opinion, are good shows to watch if you want to get real data, even though you will get a skew either way, but at least you'll get real data. So let's see if I can keep going here. I remember when MTV did music videos. Yeah, CNN did news. Yep. And CNN Headline News did the news. Yes. But it was just the basics. You're right, David. That's correct. I remember being in school and coming home and looking, at what time MTV was going to do a music video premiere, because the videos would only be on MTV. Like you had to wait till like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night, whenever it is. And that's going to be the new video with the new band. And you had to go wait and wait for it to happen. Not let your mom watch the TV so you could watch the video back in the day. Now, yeah, you can't. Jericho, I just mentioned what the shows I like watching. Most of my news, I'm very lucky in many ways here, Jericho, is that because so many people know that I pay attention to news, I get people either emailing me, texting me, messaging me, DMing me every day. Hey, Larry, what about this? Hey, Larry, what about that? What about this? My team helps to look through it, and I do too. And often I don't have to know what the news is. People will tell me what it is, and I get to go look it up as people tell me of stuff. That's how I knew about the $208 billion budget. That's how I knew about the Meghan and Harry piece. I'm lucky that because of the show I do, I'm kind of a hub and people shove stuff at me. So most of my news I get from other people sending to me, and then I check it out. So and sometimes my team will go through and go, Larry, focus on this. Don't worry about this. Focus on that. I get that too. So when it comes to the major input, I think you have to do more than one. You've got to watch, say, Fox and then CNN, and then see, is there overlap? And there sometimes is. If there's overlap, that's the real one. If there's not overlap, they're just trying to distract each other, right? CNN's trying to forget about, Cuomo and talk about, it's all vaccine stuff is all that matters. Cuomo who? I don't know who this Cuomo is. They don't know who he is. And Fox will be like, vaccines cares about that. It's all about hammering Cuomo. They'll distract each other off whatever the case may be. So, yes. So, all right. U.S. population, 228 million. Divide the total stimulus by the population, and you get 6K per person. There we go, 6K. That would stimulate the economy more than pork handouts. Yes, indeed. Yep, there we go. See that? I got 4 people in my family. I'm getting 24K. I like that, Brian. See? Big check. Here's what I would tell you. If they actually gave me 24K, you know what I would do with it? I would spend it. I would know it's a stimulus check. go spend it. And I would go out of my way to spend it locally to the best of my ability. I would spend it. I would buy stuff. I would spend it so that people could get moving, commerce gets going, and taxes get paid anyway. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yes. So, all right, keep going here. I watch news from Canada and Australia. That's very interesting. Much more truthful. Okay. I would highly dispute the nursing home grind against Cuomo. All nursing homes are the pits. This is true, Susan. I agree. All nursing homes are the pits. My biggest worry or concern about it actually is, as I think for most people, it was a cover-up. That's a problem because as soon as you start covering up, now people go, what are you covering up? And to be fair, Susan, he should have known better. He should have known better and been like, whoa, don't cover nothing up. That's the worst. If they're going to get him on this, it'll be on that. It won't be on the fact that he sent them or didn't send them. That won't be, because he'll be able to cover that up in some way, shape, or form with whatever. Oh, they were supposed to. He was supposed to. She was going to tell me, whatever. But if he actually covered something up, he's finished. I think that's the big issue, without question. Covering things up is always the worst of all of them. So, all right. Do you think the U.S. will ever go back on the gold standard, at least in a lifetime? Never. I think it's never going to happen. I don't see it at all. No, I think what will happen is eventually, to Pete's point, eventually the dollar will collapse. Whenever that happens, I think we're going to just reboot the dollar. We'll reboot it one of two ways. One, will just go cryptocurrency. It's now the U.S. coin, and we'll make it the new dollar. That's option one. And we'll say it's worth whatever. We'll just do it. We'll say it's worth something. Done. Or two, we'll just reboot the dollar. The dollar used to be worth this. Now it's worth this thing. You don't like it? We'll bomb you. You don't like it? We won't protect you. You don't like it? We won't trade with you. We'll do something like that, right? We'll just, it's now this because we deem it so. And you might say, well, Larry, how can you do that? How in the world can you just say the dollar's worth something? So we do now. The dollar now is backed based on nothing. It's based upon people believing that it's worth something and our military. That's what it's based upon. It's backed by the U.S. military. So we'll do it again. I don't think we'll go to gold standard. I think we'll go back to it's now worth this because we say it's worth this. And you better believe it's worth this, or we won't trade with you, or we'll bomb you, or we won't protect you, any of those things. So do you think gas prices will come back down, or will the Green New Deal send prices higher and higher until we are a 100% electric vehicle? That is a great question, Sam. And I'm actually unsure, to be forward. I'm actually unsure of this. And the reason is I don't know how the Green Deal's actually going to happen, if that makes sense. It's a lot of talk. A lot of talk. What's actually going to happen? Remember, Americans can't really build anything. We don't build stuff anymore. It's not what we do. We write checks. We're good at that. That's our skill set. Writing checks, we're good at. But actually doing something, do we? I mean, it takes us 14 years to build a tunnel now, right? We used to take us 2 months. Now it takes 14 years to build a tunnel. What are we actually going to build? I don't know, Sam. I don't know if the Green Deal is even real, to be forward with you. If it's just virtue signaling. I don't know if it's even real. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm unsure. My gut says gas prices stay high. That's my gut. But if we eventually decide that we're going to go some other way, like we're going to go nuclear or we're, something like that, then electric cars become viable. They become viable. If you go nuclear, then you can easily create electric energy and put it any place. It makes sense. I don't know if we're going to go there. So I wish I had a better answer. I don't mean to dodge the question. I just don't have a good answer because I don't know if I even believe the Green New Deal is even real or what's going to happen with it. It might just be a bunch of, spending things, which will create government make work jobs that won't do anything. That's possible too. So toilet paper will have value. Time to save toilet paper. That's what it is. Yes, absolutely. So, Jericho says, I need a shot of ginger brandy. Thank you. It's my family acronym for everything. I actually don't drink. It's kind of weird. I don't drink. I know people think it's nutty that I don't drink, but I don't. Not my thing. I'm not against it. Drink all you want. Do your own thing. Enjoy your life. It's not a thing. I rarely drink. I probably drink, I have a toast with somebody once every 2 years or something like that. It's just, I'm not against it. Once in a while, I have something, but it's just so rare. Like, there's no alcohol in my house. I don't buy alcohol ever. Not part of my world. So, as I always say, the only guys squarer than me are Mormons. I use coffee. They don't. So, they got me beat on the caffeine. But other than that, that's my only piece. So, the dollar is doomed. I agree, Timothy, but I don't know when. I don't think it's right now. Right? I don't think it's right now. That's my issue. So, Andrew says he watches the BBC. I agree. Yes, 100%. Yes, indeed. Yes. Larry, are you hearing people even talk about all the nursing home deaths in New York? Not mainstream media, I'm not. Individual people, yes. Mainstream media, no. No, not at all. AJ, ammo is better than Bitcoin. Don't say that, AJ. Come on now. I'm trying to not be the violent guy. Come on now. Don't get me wrong. Ammo's valuable. It is. This is true. Ammo is valuable. But let's not send the wrong message. We're trying to make this a peaceful issue here, not violent. It's funny that you bring this up. I was talking to somebody yesterday, the same idea. And he was like, Larry, what happens if we have to go violent and we have to fight and blah, 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 blah. And the sad part is I know people are actually thinking that. AJ, I know there's a seriousness to what you're saying. I get it. I'm trying to not do this, right? I'm trying to not make it to where we go to violence. I want us to be able to fix this without ammo being more important than Bitcoin. Now, I know that some people would think I'm naive. Maybe I am. Maybe we're doomed and we are doomed to violence. Maybe. I hope not. And I'm going out of my way to not support the idea of us going to violence, to try to find ways of us fixing our state, fixing our communities, fixing our nation without violence. That is my hope. So, AJ, I get it. I hope you're wrong. That's what I can say. I hope that you are wrong. Yes. So, all right. Let me see if I can keep doing this here. Just built a raised bed just for cucumbers. Cucumbers will be my biggest currency. I like that. Food's important. See that, AJ? Not just ammo. Food too. See that? Not just ammo. Food also. Yes. So, all right. So if I keep going here. Chris says, love the Mad Max reference to gas having high value. Yes. And all of a sudden, the humongous will come by and want all your gas. That's correct. So remember the humongous? Yes. Just walk away. Exactly. By the way, the actor was Swedish who played humongous, by the way. Some people don't know that. Just curious. He was some kind of like bodybuilder or something. So there we go. Let's see. Chip says, try ginger tea. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Avi says, Larry, what's your opinion on Thorum nuclear energy? I'm a big fan of nuclear energy. Yes, absolutely. I am all in. I think we should be doing it immediately. If it was up to me, we would already be building nuclear power plants in the North Country of New York State already. We would be doing it absolutely. I think we should be doing it. If it, we'd be doing it already. But Larry, the federal government won't let you. Then they'll be suing us while we're building. That's what'll be happening. They'd be suing us while we're building, because we're building. And we'll see you in court. And that's how that works, right? See you in court. You can buy ammo with Bitcoin. That's true. See, he's got you beat on that one. See that? You can buy ammo with Bitcoin. So there we go. Let's go the Bitcoin route. There we go. You can buy some ammo if you want to. Absolutely. The problem with phasing out gas-powered cars is they burn the waste product gasoline that's used to be dumped after all the usable parts of the crude were taken out. Modern medicine and therefore universal health care depend on the petroleum industry. Yes, it's also true, Bob. Yeah, yes. Petroleum, people think that, oil is just for cars and gasoline. It isn't. Universal health care, the healthcare industry is full of it. Agriculture, full of it. Drinks are made of plastic. I mean, petroleum is everywhere, right? We have to make a lot of changes. It isn't only in gas cars. Gas cars, absolutely one piece. Absolutely one piece. And would I like us to all have electric cars? Yeah, I would like that. I go back to the same thing. I'm not against green energy at all. I love the idea of green energy. I'm against the mandates, as always. I'm against the mandates. Let's come up with a serious plan that Americans decide on their own, you know what? I don't want a gas car anymore. I want an electric car. Okay, good. Let's create an environment where people want to do that. I don't want the force. That's my problem, right? That's my issue is the mandate. But I think green energy is awesome. Electric cars are great. If I thought I could have an electric car, I'd probably buy one, right? Because I said so, but not because the government wants me to. I want to do it because I want to. If you want to buy an electric car, you should. I hope you do if you want one. If you don't want one, don't buy one. It's that simple. But if you actually had a system to where nuclear power plants could project that much energy throughout a grid throughout the entire New York state, where you could actually have a charging station every couple of miles that would actually be able to make money. You just come and plug it in and make cash. Why wouldn't you? Of course you would. And that's the point. You create an environment where it makes sense to buy an electric car. You buy an electric car. Just how it works. So, but we're not doing that. We're forcing people and they're fighting back. I don't want them to fight back. It's a bad idea. It's terrible. Jim says, when the people don't have a voice, violence is soon to follow. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. So let's just keep talking. 100%. Yes. New York City Police, Cuomo is in control of now. I'm not sure where you're going with that. But if you're saying New York, that Cuomo runs this state, yes. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. So, was it Dolph Lundgren or Jean-Claude Van Damme? Do you mean the actor I just talked about? No. I've actually forgotten his name. He didn't do much. He did not do much. He did like that and like one other thing his entire career. He didn't do very much. Humongous is his claim to fame. I've actually forgotten the actor's name. That's his claim to fame, though. That's it. So, all right, see if I can keep going. That is why you need the $10 million to be New York's next governor. Yes, I've said it. If I raise $10 million, I will absolutely win. I will be the next governor of New York State. No doubt. I will bet the $10 million. That's how sure I am of that. 100%. Yes, 100%. So let me keep going if I can. All this bottled water craze, increased use of all those evil plastic bottles that are made from petroleum. Yes. Thank you, Jimmy. There's a whole lot of industries that are based upon petroleum. So while I'm happy if you want to buy an electric car, I'm happy if we make a world. That's wonderful with lots of electric cars. Awesome. It's not enough. Not enough. If you're really concerned about global warming, climate change, and I am, to be clear. I don't think it's a hoax. I believe it's absolutely a real thing. I do. And I still don't want mandates. It doesn't mean I got to tell you what to do, Jimmy. Well, I believe global warming is real. So, Jimmy, do as I say. That's not how that works, right? If I believe global warming is real, and I do, then I need to find ways to convince you, Jimmy, to go, you know what? I'm going to do some stuff Larry wants me to do because I believe it's in my best interest, so I will do it. That's what I want. We don't do that. We pass laws. I'm going to force you, Jimmy, because science, because I'm right. And Jimmy says, oh, you're going to force me? Now I'm not doing it. Now I'm not doing it. In fact, now I'm going to double down on the opposite because you told me to do it. That's just human nature. That's human nature. We can fix all these problems with the right type of environment where people choose on their own to do the right thing. I talked about using hemp. Using hemp, just allowing hemp to be used throughout all of New York State, we'd use less petroleum. Just hemp. Less petroleum. Just using hemp. That's it. Less petroleum just in that. Now add nuclear power, we'd have less cars. Without me having to mandate anything. People would use hemp because they like hemp and they think it's cool. They would use it. People would buy electric cars because it would be easier and cheaper. They would do it because it makes sense for them. This is what I'm talking about. Absolutely. Brian says, nobody had to mandate the use of internal combustion cars. They simply beat out steam-powered and animals. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. If we make a better environment for electric cars, people will choose voluntarily to buy electric cars. It literally is that way. I hate the force part. We're going to fight us. People are going to fight us. It makes no sense whatsoever. You can absolutely do it. Absolutely. So Anyway, guys, I want to bring up something real fast if I could. I do appreciate everything you guys are talking about and what we're bringing up. However, please make sure you like, comment, and share. But one more thing. Head over to the pandemic survey. It is literally in the show description. Click that button. Go to the pandemic survey and take it. Do you care about mask mandates? Do you care about vaccines? Did you care? What do you think about, the idea of, how deadly is it? All these types of things. Take a survey. Let people know what you think. And when you're done finish the entire survey. It takes about 5 minutes. When you're done, share it. Let people know where you stand and let them go take it too. Why? Theadvocates.org are my sponsor. These are my sponsors. This is free. It makes them happy. It makes me happy. It supports the show. It costs you 5 minutes. Please go there, click, take that test and that survey, and share it. Let people know you're doing it. Finish it and share it. It does matter. It helps you out tremendously. If you go, Larry, I don't got time for your dumb survey. Okay. You don't got time for my dumb survey. No worries. How about this? Pay me then instead. How about that? You don't got time? I'm sure you got cash then instead. Look, you got your Biden bucks coming. Throw some my way. Patreon.com/SharpeWay. Throw me $25, $10 a month to keep this going, right? If you like what I'm doing, you want to keep it going, support me so that I can keep doing this every night and so I don't tear my voice apart and I can buy some of that whiskey you told me to buy. Whatever, I'll do that. Whatever. I'll pay my team more. So let's do that. $10 a month, $25 a month, whatever you can do. Please, you got Biden bucks, come and do that. If you can't do that, no worries. Take that survey. It's free. 5 minutes. And as always, like, comment, and share. Let me keep walking down a couple of these roads here. Tony says, Larry, we have a hemp farm in Broome County. We should have hundreds of them. 100%. Susan says, why advocate nukes over other energy sources, solar and wind? I'm not against solar and wind, Susan. The problem with solar and wind is they're actually slower to move forward. They're less reliable up front. And as the wind, particularly the wind power, as it begins to collapse and get older, it's not renewable. In other words, there's no way to recycle the physical things, the physical blades and all those things. It's a problem. Similar with solar. So it's fine. I'm not against those two. But you could take the next 20 years trying to get solar and wind off the ground, or you could spend the next 5 or 10 years popping up 3 nuclear plants in New York State, and you wouldn't have a need for gas or oil power plants or coal power plants in New York State. You would need it because as solar and wind come up and nuclear is online, problem solved. You could go to green energy within 5 or 10 years. Done. You'd have no need. Solar and wind is going to take decades before it can replace gas and oil. Decades before it can replace that. And coal. Decades. Nuclear. Once those 3 are up, done. And best part, those 3, if we get 3 up, we're literally exporting energy. New York State becomes an exporter of energy. Right now, we are a massive import of energy. We're spending money to import energy. We should be selling it. We literally could be exporting it. That's why I'm a big advocate of nuclear. And I'm not against solar or wind. I'm not. I'm just saying nuclear is faster to get us off of fossil fuels. It's faster, and we could immediately begin selling it to make more money. And if you want to, use the proceeds from selling nuclear power to build more solar and wind. I'm fine with that. Whatever works. All good. So, yes, whatever works, it works. Paula took it. Thank you, Paula. I appreciate that. Absolutely. That is awesome. So, I hope that answers your question, by the way, Susan. I'm not against those two. I just think it takes forever to make this actually happen. It's much easier to go with nuclear in that regard. In my view. Somebody would disagree. So, yes. All righty. Thanks again for sharing, Larry. Got to run for now, but wanted to say thanks for all your work. People like you who will make a difference that is real and matters. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that, Jim. Absolutely, yes. Shelly says, I don't know if global warming is real, but I believe we have a duty to care for the earth. Me too, Shelly, me too. And I do think it's a problem. I think you see it with the climate change. I think you do see it. That again, it doesn't mean that mandates are the answer. Mandates don't work. They make things worse constantly. It's not what I want. We can create an environment to where people will actually do the right thing. We can. Absolutely. We can. That is an issue. So, yes. So, Matt says nuclear around for weapons only. Yeah. That's the sad part. Yes. Susan says nukes too dangerous. Yes, decades makes the investment now. I think if you look at old school nukes, that's true. Gen 4 nuclear power in general is far less dangerous. I mean, not even close. It's nowhere near as dangerous. And the best part about some of the Gen 4 is they actually use spent nuclear rods as fuel. We have a bunch of spent nuclear rods. I forgot where it is. I think it is in Kentucky or Tennessee. I forgot what it was. We're literally just storing nuclear and rods, waste. We're storing it there. Well, take that. That's storing there, creating all kind of hazards. Ship it up to New York State. Dump it into those things. And now we're using nuclear waste as energy. Home run, Susan. Home run. And the way the actual new ones work, Gen 4, which I think is what Brian was talking about, was Avi. I forgot, someone mentioned it earlier, was asking about that. Those are almost impossible to melt down. So it doesn't happen. So it is nowhere near as dangerous as the old ones were, right? It's nowhere near as dangerous as the old ones were. So that's why I would prefer it. That's my logic. I think it does take care of some of our issues. It does make things better in the long run. And I think it's faster getting us off of fossil fuels for sure. So that's why I would say that, if that makes any sense. That's why I believe that to be the right answer. I get that people disagree with me. I get it. Lots of people disagree with me. They think I'm wrong and crazy. I get it. It's where I stand. I think it's the right answer. I think it's basically a better way of making that work. So there we go. Tony says, wife won't let me buy new firearms. Anyone wants to trade. I'm not going to touch that, Tony. I'm going to leave that one completely alone. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for today. I appreciate all the time you gave me this evening. Thank you for my raspy voice being good as I went and got a cough drop. So I'm better. I will see you guys all very soon. Please always like, comment, share, patreon.com. Take that survey. It does matter. And I will see you all tomorrow.